Okay, so in the last video, we saw how we can import a given function from a different module. So we showed that we could just, it's as simple as saying from some module import a function, and then we have the function available to work with. So what we'll be looking at in this video is how we could import a whole module itself, because we could have situations whereby you will want to import an entire module for your usage instead of just importing a specific function from the module. You know, we should hear that a module contain a function, but in some situations you have a module containing a whole class or a group of functions and etc. So let's take a look at how we can do that here. Let's create a new file and let's call this um, modules. All right. So consider something like this. Let's say some module A file has three functions. Let's define another function. Let's say def return. Let's just call it great. So let's call this function great. Then all right. So we have great. And then let's declare another function. Let's call this function sum. Let's say this function just returns the sum of A and B. Right. So as you can see here, we have three functions within this sum module A file. All right. So what you could do when you want to import an entire module instead of just a single function from the module, it's easy. We'll just say import sum module A, like as simple as that, and then you have some module available to you in this file, so you can call any of the functions. So you could do something as you could say great. Okay, so in this case, as we in the last video we showed that when you import a function you can just reference the function directly. Well, now in this case, because you're importing the whole module, now you have to reference the module. So we know that there's a function called greet in the sum module A file, right? So we'll have to say sum module A dot, and then you see VS Code already will give you options of the available functions. So you see we have greet, so you could just say, and it shares the text parameter username, so we could pass in Tahir, for example, and then when we run this, let's see what happens. All right, so you see it greeted us. It greeted hello Tahir. All right, so you see we were able to just use one function out of all the several functions available within this file. So we could also do the same thing here. We could also do the same thing for, so we could say sum module A dot sum, and we could say 1 comma 10. Now we could say, since this function returns a value, we could say print, and then when you run this, what do we have? 11. So it takes 10 plus, it returns the sum of 1 plus 10, that's 11, right? So you can Actually, assuming we have like several functions here, you can use each and every one of them within this scope by just importing the module. So another thing I want to show you is you could also import a specific function and give it another name. So let's say we want to import the greet function, just specifically the greet function. We want to import it as something else. So we could do something like this: import, or let's assume we already have our function. Let's say we define a function here, greet, already in this file. So um, let's see. Let's say it also takes a username. So let's say this function says print hello. This is general greeting. Then let's say username. Let's make this an F string. Yep. All right. So you see, we have a function called greet here. So we can, if we import, the greet function now from some module A, there will be conflict. So instead of just importing it, instead of just importing the greet function from some module A, we'll instead say from some module A import greet as what? So now we can say as special greeting. Okay, I'll just call it special greet. So now we've imported greet as special greet. So now we can reference greet from some module A as special greet within our file here. So let's run that and see what happens. Let's see special greet here. Now let's see. Now let's see what happens. Let's run. Let's also call the greet function here. All right. So I'm gonna comment this out. Sorry. Alright, so let's run this and see what happens. Now, sometimes I don't like using this to run Python because of all of this stuff it puts on the screen. So I'm just going to do this Python modules.py. Alright, so look what happened. It gave us hello, this is general greeting, Tahir Muhammad, and then hello, Tahir Muhammad. So in this first instance, we call this greet, that is the greet within this file here, and then it gave us hello, this is general, plus the username you pass in, and then here we use special greet, which is just another name for the greet function we imported from the previous file, and then it's worked properly. So this is how you can import a specific function and change the name from a specific module without having to deal with conflict of two or more functions having the same name. So this brings us to the end of this video. See you in the next video. Thank you for watching.